Very practical, reliable, and very stylish, the Lexus GS is no doubt in my mind one of the best automotive bargains you can buy in today's time. Whether you want it as a daily driver, whether you want it as a modified car, this car will not disappoint you. And through this video, I hope to inspire you to buy one of these automotive grades before it is too late. So, in this video, this is my personal list on before you buy a 1998 to 2005 Lexus GS. Here we go. So a little bit of a background story with the Lexus GS. This car originally came out in 1997 as a 1998 model and spanned all the way to 2005. It was a rear-wheel drive sports sedan created by Toyota to go up against the likes of the BMW 5 Series of the time, the Infiniti G35, and some other competitors of the time. If you got the GS300, it came in a 3-liter inline 6, which is also the 2JZ, as what the cool kids call it. The GS400 came in a 1UZ, which was a 4-liter V8, which is also found in the first generation LS400. Now, around the years of 2000 and 2001, Lexus released the GS430, which was also a V8. It was a 4.3-liter V8 as a matter of fact, and it was also called the 3UZ. Fantastic, but it gets even better. Over on the Japanese side, this car was called the Toyota Aristo. You can get it in a regular 3-liter inline 6 and actually aspirated 2JZ, but they also got the 2JZ GTE, which the US market never got, unfortunately, which was a big missed opportunity. You can get it in the Supra, but you couldn't get it in the GS300. One of my favorite features that this car actually came with from factory, brand new, is one of these here. So this is the original key. Watch what happens. For a 20-year-old car, every single window, even the sunroof, goes back if I keep holding it. Just like that. And to put every single window back up in its original position, all I have to do is put the key inside this part here and turn it to the lock position. Including the sunroof comes all the way up, just like that. Amazing for a 20-year-old car. It's pretty impressive. It still works too. And if you want to put the windows back down, all you have to do is put the key inside the slot and turn it to the unlock position. All the windows come down, of course, and the sunroof as well goes back. And if I hold it like that and then turn it again, it goes back even more, which is impressive. Now, if you take a little bit of a gander when you step inside of one of the Lexus GS's from 1998 to 2005, you'll notice that the steering wheel is unusually pretty high in its original factory setting. That's because this is power, telescoping, and tilt. Now, vice versa, it still does the same thing. So all you have to do is put the key inside the ignition here, and the steering wheel comes right back to you. And you can adjust it through these little buttons right here, or this button. So this goes up, this goes down. Sometimes these motors kind of go out, so you got to kind of watch out for that. But you can push it in, as you can see, and you can have the steering wheel come towards you. Has 2-person memory as well. Also comes with some of these actually had heated seats. I guess that's just an option, but mine luckily came with them. And it's an optional sunroof as well you could get. So just gonna turn it on, keep the radio off. Also, you have dual climate control as well, if you didn't know, and it's actually way colder than this right now, so I'm trying to get this video out as best as I can. But like I said, 2-person memory, so I'm gonna click the first setting I have, and the steering wheel goes back like that. Now, the GS300 also has some E-shift buttons. This was also another option. I believe it was actually dealer installed option or something along the lines of that, but all I know is it was an option. Not every single GS car had these. I know majority of the GS400s, I believe, had these, but The two buttons on the front is kind of a weird early 2000s thing that they were actually experimenting with when it comes to the early design of paddle shifting. So these two buttons here actually downshift the car. So I'll push one of them here, and it brings RPMs up. And I'll push one of the buttons behind here, and it shifts into the next gear. Now, I'm not the type of person to bash a certain car, but I adore the look of this car. If I really wasn't into this car as much as I was, I don't really think I would pay too much mind to these, because the front kind of looks like Jumba from that one Disney movie I guess we all saw as a kid at one point. But I'm not sure it's because this is my dream car or ones I've loved since I was a kid, so I guess I'll have a bit of a bias towards it. But just look at the design. It's held up pretty well. A testament to Lexus is just the build quality. Even back in the 90s when they released the JZS 147 first gen GS, and even alongside of the SC300, the design is held up even to this day. Amongst a lot of people who are really into this car, honestly, it's up to you. Personally, to me, I really adore this design, especially from this second generation that you see now. Like, just look at the body lines. It's more bubbly, but it just looks amazing. And also, I guess the headlights kind of resemble more of a Mercedes of the late 90s and early 2000s, but nonetheless, it's a beautiful looking sedan. Now this is the exciting part. I bet you've been waiting for this for a while, for the whole entire video up until now, so I'll just give it to you here straight up. If you get the 300 model, which is a 3-liter inline 6 with a naturally aspirated 2J, which I have, you're not beating Scat Packs, you're not beating G37s, you're not beating BMW M5s, you get it. It has enough power to get out of its own way, but it's not completely there. But if you get the 400 or 430, those things actually still are pretty stout even to this day. They do 0-60 in like under 6 seconds. They're pretty quick. But the 2JZ, the naturally aspirated VVTi, even though it has thinner rods than the first gen GS300 and the Supra Mark IV, which actually shared the same motor, just the naturally aspirated variant, which I'm talking about, those had bigger rods, and I think you can get up to like 500 on stock internals. It's amazing. But on the 2J that I have, which is the VVTi, you can probably get around safely on stock ECU, maybe 350 to 400 before you start to mess around with a lot of things, and you're probably going to blow your motor up. But nonetheless, these things are highly tunable. Overbuilt and top-notch quality. It is no surprise that for the past 30 years, especially for that period in the 90s and 2000s, that Toyota and Lexus created some of the most reliable vehicles on the planet. The 2JZ, the 1UZ, and the 3UZ, easily all 200,000 miles with barely any issues whatsoever. Nothing too catastrophic at all. You'll probably get your run-of-the-mill issues that you'll have with any other car. No car is perfect, but specifically with these motors, 200,000 plus, no issues. Now, from personal experience, the 2JZ motor, the only issue that car has ever really given me was after I bought the car, the cat tends to go out. Now, that has to do with the cat on the manifold, the two big cats that are on the exhaust manifold. That is approximately a $4,000 dealer fix, and I was not going to pay $4,000 for some OEM manifold, so I just got catless headers, but that's for another story. Also, I dealt with my door actuators going out only on the rear. The first rear left one went out, and then the right one went out. But that's kind of a common issue with the RX 330 at the time, the GSs, and I think some ISs had that issue. Also, especially if your car is on the East Coast, definitely make sure your car has no rust. You don't want any rust on the frame at all, because you're just putting money into a car that's definitely not going to be suitable for driving conditions whatsoever. Also, this car is pushing almost 30 years old in a couple of years. It's already a little over 20 years old, so beware that a lot of the cam seals and crank seals, most of the seals, the majority of them with these motors, 2JZ, 1UZ, 3UZ, they're more than likely going to be brittle, so you're probably going to be leaking a lot of oil. I haven't heard too many problems with these cars when it comes to electronic issues specifically, but Toyota did use a lot of brittle plastic back in the late 90s, early 2000s, so when it comes to some components, especially the engine bay, don't be surprised if you do spark plug change and some of the wires, especially the plug wires, are brittle. So you're probably going to want to get those replaced more than likely because, like I said, it's a 20 to 30-year-old car and they were using plastic. Last thing, as far as I know, make sure you get ball joints, because if you don't, God forbid, you're going to have a catastrophic failure. And if you don't have a catastrophic failure, because I dealt with this before, you're going to have a lot of creaking in the steering wheel every time you turn the wheel from one way or another in each direction. It's going to sound like your car's going to fall apart. So make sure when you get one of these cars, you get new ball joints. You're going to thank yourself later. Brands like Vertex Japan, 326 Power Japan, and especially Serial 9, there are a plethora of options you can actually choose to make your GS to your liking and separate it from everybody else's. From front bumper, front lip, rear bumper, side skirt, interior pieces, headlights, taillights, rear valence lip. There's just so many things you can do. I mean, I actually don't know where to start. It's just so overwhelming, but you know what I mean. Tires, like just the subtle amount of things that you do to this car as time goes on, it's just going to make the car look better and better. It depends to your liking, of course, but it's pretty much history on wheels from how I've always viewed this car. So, if you made it to this far in the video, I appreciate you, of course. This was my personal buyer's guide to wanting to own a 1998 to 2005 Lexus GS, or I like to call the second gen. This is a video I wanted to make for a very, very long time, even before I had this car. And knowing that I can make this type of video for you, it actually really means a lot to show, I guess, where I used to be and where I am now. And this was a car I've always wanted, as I always say in a lot of videos. It was my childhood dream car and everything. So just wanted to appreciate you guys for sticking around regardless of what video I make, and just listening to me talk and just document everything I had to do with this car. You know, I really appreciate that. And just like me, if this was one of your dream cars, or if any other car is your dream car, don't let anybody tell you that you can't achieve it, because I had a lot of people tell me that I wouldn't be able to get this car or get anything else. I know it ain't a Ferrari or Lamborghini or anything like that, but as long as it means something to you and it means, you know, a lot to you, then who cares? So these cars aren't going anywhere, so just work hard, and I promise you'll own one of these one day, or for any other car that you want. So do you see yourself in a Lexus GS of your own one day? Well, it's all up to you. Your choice.